Hello and welcome to today's live English lesson here on the AM Language YouTube channel. I hope everyone is doing well. Um, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. In today's lesson, we are going to look at ways that you can improve your level of English, a guide to improving your level of English. Make sure, if this is your first time or you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Press that subscribe button and like and share the videos as well. You will have noticed, well, some of you might have noticed, that there's a new IELTS testimonial video that was put up today. Make sure you go and have a look at that video. And if you are thinking of having IELTS classes, or if you are thinking of taking the IELTS exam, have a look at some of our videos and see how you can prepare for IELTS at AM Language. Irina F, hello, good afternoon, and Privyet, thank you very much for joining. As always, you too, Francesca, boa tarde, and welcome to today's lesson. Thank you for joining as well, as you so often you regularly do. So thank you very much. I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope you all found yesterday's lesson helpful and interesting. Alida, you as well. Good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Buenos dias from where you are in the world as well. So yeah, there's a new IELTS video, as I've just mentioned. And there was yesterday's video, which was about how you guys can do well in the level test. Alida says, I watched yesterday's lesson. Thank you. Thanks. Yes, thank you very much, Alida. Much appreciated. So in today's lesson, we are going to look at ways, or well, a guide to how you can develop your English. So we'll look at this. We'll take it from different. We can have a little look at how this might be slightly different depending on your level. So we'll work our way up. We'll start off with the idea of what to do if you're at a low level, like elementary or pre-intermediate. And then we'll make our way through to intermediate, up intermediate, and advanced. Some things are going to be the same, while others, there are going to be some slight differences. But the first thing that I'm going to tell everybody to do is, now this isn't for beginners, and I know beginners don't watch this, don't watch the live lesson. So I'm not going to give any advice for beginners. But let's say you're pre-intermediate onwards. Now, no matter what level, okay, you are, this is the first guide, okay? This is the first rule that I'm going to give you, okay? 1. And you will have heard me say this, you will have heard your teacher say this, think in English. That is actually the first guide. Now, it doesn't matter, you can't do this at beginner or elementary level, really, because you don't have enough basic language. Once you're at a pre-intermediate level, you can begin to do this. At intermediate level, you should be doing this. And at up intermediate level and advanced, you ought to be doing this. The reason being is that if once you start thinking in the language, it helps your fluency. It helps you to communicate more easily. It helps you to speak as well. You also naturally will start to think in terms of the structures of languages, that the structures that you have been taught. So if you're pre-intermediate and you are thinking, you've been taught some words, you've been taught some grammar points, start trying to think of what you're going to say in English. The thing about translation is it's something that you will automatically do, and you will continue to do so. But when developing fluency, that is when you need to really think in English. So that is guide number one. Think in English. Two, again, I'm going to go for something a little bit general for now, and then I'm going to get into some specifics. Okay, so number two, and this is quite a good one. Follow posts and videos in English. Now, this is very useful. You will spend a lot of time on your phone. Um, and if you will spend time on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever the social media post, as well as watching Netflix, um, Amazon Prime, whatever. Now, why do I say follow posts and videos in English? Well, it's to do with exposure. It's to do with exposure to the language. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more your brain is going, and this is a word I'm going to actually I don't expect you to know this word in English, but you might be able to translate it quite easily back into your own language, and you might have something similar. It might translate. Um, you might be able to easily it might translate quite nicely back into your own language. But the word is simulate. So let me just bring this up over here. Um, Now, when I say simulate, okay, and I'm using this in terms of as a verb to simulate. It means uh, to take on, um, reproduce, and imitate. So when you expose yourself to the language, you will begin to simulate it. Now, when you begin to simulate, this is when you start to actually use words that natives would use. This is when you start to use idioms, phrases. It can be grammar structures. It can be even to do with sense of humor as well. You begin to simulate. So that's the idea. The more you follow and expose yourself to the English language or any language that you're trying to learn, the more you will begin to simulate. You'll take on the language and you will produce it. Take a simple post on Instagram. And it doesn't have to be English. It doesn't, and this is the other thing, it doesn't have to be an English learning platform. It doesn't have to be, a language school or a post dedicated to teaching people English. It can be what native speakers look at as well. So, for example, let's say you like films and you like a series. Let's say you like Games of Thrones because loads of people seem to like Games of Thrones. You follow Games of Thrones in English and you will begin to simulate the language in English. Same with Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Batman, um, Marvel comic books, or it could be food, it could be wine, whatever it might be. Follow English posts that are for native speakers. So don't just follow um, your daily English guide. Follow what natives follow. That's a great way to expose yourself to the language because then you will also see what English speakers are writing. You will naturally learn English just by looking at what, random people uh, are saying or commenting. So that's number two. Follow posts and videos in English according to your interests. Three. What did I press? Three. Now, three. Again, I'm still sticking to a general guide here. Then I'll get into some specifics according to your level. And if you have any questions, please ask me in the top chat over here on the right. So, number three. This is an important one, and people, some, it's easy to do, and it's not easy to do, and you'll see why. Okay. I'm kind of killing, as the term would say, two birds with one stone. So I'm mentioning two things in one. Listen to English music and read in English. Now, this is another thing. Now, if you listen to music, you will naturally begin it's very repetitive. You'll find songs that you like, and that way you will begin to learn the English. For instance, when I was learning Italian back in 2010, I still remember a song, a bit of a song that I used to listen to. I If I try to sing it now, I'll probably get it wrong, but I remember the tune. I remember what it's about. It goes something like Gio Mondo. No, see, I can't actually. It's been too long. I remember the tune. Da 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 da. See, I can remember the tune, and I remember Il Mondo, the world. Um, so I can remember that bit, but I can't remember the whole lyrics. But take a song you know very well. Take something like, popular music. Um, that's okay. So Alida says, "I'm used to reading English movies. It's really helpful." Yeah, it's a very good idea. Oh, novels. Sorry, English novels. Yeah, look, it's all again about exposure. So listen to English music. It can be American, it can be English, Australian, New Zealand. Um, I really Irish. I recommend it. That's the best way you can expose yourself to hearing the language being used. Now, reading is really important, and this is where I'm going to say: read read books that would interest you. Read according to your level if you can, and you can go to quite. I mean, if you go to Amazon, you can find books, novels that have been changed according to your level. And the other thing as well is read articles. So let's say again, this goes back to social media. If you're using social media and you like to follow sport, just look at sport in English, or look at a film review in English, or look at travel tips in English. Try to look at certain things that you might choose to book in English. So this might be, for instance, let's say you're going to fly. You're going to fly from Malta to Greece. Don't actually. I mean, if you're feeling really confident, book in English. But um, even if you are not going to book in English, see if you can understand how things are written in English when it comes to buying things. This again is a small thing. You are reading, but you're exposing yourself to the language. Manuel says, I'm used to listen news around the world every day." Well done. Yeah, I think it's a great way to do it. Listen to the news in English every day. That will expose your ear to the language. Uh, by the way, if you're going to use the structure, I'm used to listening. I'm used to listening. Okay, I'm used to listening. That's what we're going to have to go with. Um, okay, so uh, now that's one, two, three. Now I'm going to give you a fourth tip. Okay, and this fourth tip is the last tip, which is going to be general. And the fourth tip is, if you want to a guide to improving your English, and this is quite important. Find time to speak in English. Now, you might say to yourself, well, obviously, and yeah, sure, it's obvious, but it can be difficult. So here are some ways you can do it. Now, if you are living with someone who can speak English to some level, agree that when you are having dinner with each other, you are going to speak in English. If you're going shopping with that person, agree that you're going to shop in English. If you're going to play sport with a group of friends and you know they can speak English, agree that you are all going to speak English when you play that sport. The next thing is, now, if you cannot speak English with someone, you still need to find a way to speak English. So, one way to do it is to record your thoughts. So, you might watch a video on YouTube. Well, go onto your phone and record. Record yourself speaking. So, if you don't have anyone to speak with in English, speak to yourself and have a conversation with yourself in English. It might sound a bit strange, but having a conversation with yourself in another language can be a very useful way to actually learn English. It is possible to use be plus used to plus ing. Yep, absolutely. You will learn that at a higher level though. So you come across that maybe intermediate, definitely up intermediate, but intermediate, yes. Pre-intermediate, no. Francesca, you won't learn this structure at a pre-intermediate level, but to give you an idea, for instance, how can we use this? Um, Let me give you some examples. Ba-ba-bum. So, I mean, look, I don't want to turn this into a grammar lesson. I'm just going to give you some examples. So, you can say, I am used to, I'm used to this. Okay, let's go with this. If you're going to use the verb to be, I am used to this room. I am used to living in this room. I am getting used to living in this room. So the answer here is yes, you can do. You can certainly use it. Oh, wait a minute. Did I make a typo? Maybe I made a. Did I get? I think I might have made a typo there. Yes, I did commit a typo. Apologies. I forgot the D. Um, I forgot the D when I typed. Apologies. Um, so that's what that answers that question. But yes, you can do that sort of thing, Francesca. But I will make sure that I spend. I don't know. Maybe we can look at that at a later date. But I don't want to go that into. I don't want to go into that now. Um, okay. So anyway, next. Now let's look at something slightly different. And by the way, yes, it is meant to have a D. Apologies, I completely missed out the D. I think in that one. Anyway, Let's not get stuck on grammar and a typo. So the next thing that I would like to point out to you guys is this is going to be relevant when it comes to um, one second. Let me just correct that because it's annoying me now. Okay. Okay, so that's now been corrected. So next thing that we need to look at. Um, Personal guides to when it comes to certain levels. So pre-intermediate. If you are a pre-intermediate student, something that we need to look at. Pre-intermediate students. This is now when you're looking at the book. Okay. If you're looking at your book, what you need to get, what you need to do here. So let's just have a little look. I'm just going to get this. Okay. So if you're looking at the book and you're a pre-intermediate, the important thing for you guys to do. Now, you might think you need to do absolutely every exercise. No, you don't. You do not need to do every single exercise to pass the tests or anything of that. One of the things that would be best for you guys to do is try not to. The word is okay. So guide one. Don't jump ahead. Very tempting to think that all of a sudden I'm going to run out of battery. It's very easy to get distracted and to think that all of a sudden, you are going to you're learning new language, and then you think you can start to use it, and then you want more, and then you want more, and then you want more because you want to move up a level. This can be a little bit dangerous. Um, it can be a little bit dangerous for some reasons, actually. The reason being is that you don't learn things properly. It's so important that you learn a particular type of grammar before you move on to the next thing. Because if you don't, you're going to end up really confusing yourself, and it can be pretty difficult to correct. It's easy. The thing is, you can become you can get to the stage where you end up confusing yourself, and you don't want to end up confusing yourself. So if you reach the stage where you are whereby you've learned, let's say, the passive, the past simple passive, but you cannot use this accurately every time, there's no point in you learning how to use the passive in the in a different and a more difficult structure like the past perfect. So before you jump, make sure you know how to do something properly. It's the same thing with like language. I mean, some students end up with a decent range of vocabulary, but they cannot use the vocabulary properly because they didn't learn the structures properly. So make sure that while you're at pre-intermediate is one of the most important stages, because that's where you learn so many basic and essential structures. You learn the perfect tense, you learn the continuous tense, you learn the passive structures, and you learn the real important building blocks. A really big mistake is when students at pre-intermediate say, no, 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 I've been in pre-intermediate for 2 months and I should now go to intermediate because I've been there for 2 months. It is it's a bad idea, because then if you do end up intermediate and you have not begun to use certain structures properly all the time, this is going to end up with serious confusion later on. Um, and it becomes really difficult to correct because there's a saying in English, practice makes perfect. Well, maybe, but I can tell you this, practice makes um, practice makes permanent. Whatever you learn at pre-intermediate and the way you learn it at pre-intermediate will be the way you use it in the future. And if you don't use it properly, if you by the time you finish pre-intermediate, if you haven't learned how to do something properly, you are not going to correct it very easily. One of the biggest challenges for a teacher is to get a student who is an upper intermediate student but makes basic grammar mistakes because it's really difficult to correct. That is why pre-intermediate, don't rush. I know it's very frustrating, but if you get pre-intermediate right, I can promise you intermediate will be a lot easier. One of the dangers is people move from pre-intermediate to intermediate too early. And then what happens? They're an intermediate for 3, 4 months. And they end up staying there and they become stuck. So if you want to avoid getting stuck at a level, make sure you've actually ticked all the boxes you need to tick before moving on. This means having a serious conversation with your teacher about what your actual level is. Now we have level tests, and sometimes you might get 68%, and the teacher tells you, no, I know it's only 2%, but I'm not going to move you up just yet. You should take that seriously because, again, if you want to avoid getting stuck at a level, make sure you actually know the language you need to know before moving to the next level. Now, a guideline for people who are upper intermediate trying to get to advanced. This is the hardest one, going from upper intermediate to advanced. Now, why is this so difficult? You might think to yourself, why is this so difficult? Why is it so difficult to get from upper intermediate to advanced? The answer? No, not enough writing and not enough reading. It's very common that you'll find students who can speak very well. Speaking wise, they would be able to cope at an advanced level, but they don't have enough language and they cannot produce enough language with the correct meaning to be at an advanced level. To counter this, you need to read and you need to write. And more importantly, you need to begin to write like the material that you are reading, which is why your choice of reading material is going to make a big difference. It is at this stage whereby, how do I know if I'm an upper intermediate student or advanced? You would have to take a level test. You can take some online level tests. Um, you can take some international exams as well, and that can give you a very good idea. I mean, a leader, if your speaking is anything, I mean, look, your level of English is high. So if I had to, I like to think in IELTS because that's the main sort of subject that I ended up creating the sort of at AM when I came in, my baby, so to speak, was the IELTS. So I ended up thinking like in terms of IELTS a lot. And you are, if I were to judge, I mean, I have never heard you speak or read or listen or you're listening, but based on the structures that you're capable of using, I would say you're definitely in the I wouldn't be surprised if you are advanced. You might be up intermediate, but it wouldn't surprise me if you are advanced. But you would have to take an actual exam. But to my point, if you are an up intermediate student and you want to get to an advanced level, choose your reading material carefully. That's the first thing. And second, write. And I mean write, 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 and write again. The majority of times when you see people failing the upper intermediate level test, and when they're trying to get to an advanced level, is the writing. If the writing isn't of an advanced level, you could do well. I mean, look, your speaking could be good. Listening might be difficult, but your listening, chances are, if you watch films in English, your listening will be good. The reading, well, the more you read, the better your reading will be. But my gosh, I cannot stress this enough, the importance of writing. So what do? Choose your reading material carefully, first of all, because you want to write, try and write the type of writing that you want to emulate, which means to copy, okay? Find the type of writing you want to copy, or should I say, the writing style you want to emulate. Now, you would do this at university, but do this when you're learning a language. This means when it comes to writing essays, try and find examples of English essays on subjects you find interesting, written in an essay format. If you know that you might be asked to write a story, um, read stories in English. It's so important to make this connection. Your reading and your writing are going to be connected. The more you read and the more you write. The more you read, the better you will write. I cannot stress this enough. And it's one of the biggest problems. The amount of times I have asked students, do you read? And the answer is no. And then you look at their writing and you think, well, if you read more, you would write better. It's as simple as that. It's a very easy thing to correct. Now, I know a lot of people today don't enjoy reading very much, and they might not enjoy writing very much. But if you do want to get to advanced, you need to. Because what does an advanced level of English mean? It means if you have an advanced level of English, it means you should be able to write essays at a level that would be accepted at universities. You should be capable of writing emails to a professional level, and you should be able to understand material, the majority of material that you might read at a bachelor level at university, or the majority of emails that you would read. That's why. So that's my guide. If you're up intermediate and you want to get to the next level, read, write, read and write, read and write again. So that's my guide for you guys to improve your level of English. I'm just going to say two things again. If you're a pre-intermediate student, make sure before you move up a level that you have really understood the grammar and the new words, but really the grammar. Pre-intermediate is heavy. It's a lot of grammar, because if you can get that right, the rest is going to be a lot easier. And if you're an up intermediate student trying to get to an advanced level, read a lot, write a lot, and you will see the improvement. And ask your teacher just to have a little look. So guys, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have found this video helpful, please like. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. I will be back tomorrow, same time, with another live English lesson. And make sure you the problem is context. Context. Context is going to be a problem. For that, Francesca, make sure you can talk to your teacher. There is a library as well. That's a point. There's a library. There's a small library at AM. If you go along and ask to borrow a book from the AM language small library, which is a bookshelf, find books according to your level. That will help a lot. So thank you very much, Francesca. You to Alida, you to Evelina, you to Irina F, and you as well, Manuel. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you tomorrow at 4:30. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.